Charitamrita, the Chaitanya Bhagavat, the instructions and teachings by Srila Prabhupada, and the songs of the great acharyas. So actually, Lord Nithiyananda is none other than Lord Balaram himself. Lord Nithiyananda is the direct incarnation of Lord Balaram in this age, the age we are in, Kali Yuga. And a great acharya, Srila Narottama Das Thakur, confirms this. He says, Bajendra Nandana Ye, Sachi Sutta Huelo She, Balaram Huelo Nitai. That is, the son of Sachi is none other than the same son of Yashoda and Nand Maharaj. And Nityananda Prabhu is that same Balaram. So, who is Balaram? We know, everyone here knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Swayam Roop. He is the original root, the original source, the source of all expansions. He does not depend on any other expansions. Okay, in the Srimad Bhagavatam it's confirmed, Krishna tu Bhagavan Swayam. Alright? So the scriptures then further describe the expansions of the Lord. How does he expand? His expansions are inconceivable and limitless, but by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have been given this knowledge to understand a drop of this. So today we'll talk a little bit about his expansions, just so we can get an insight into the opulence of the Lord, but more importantly, to understand the position of Lord Nityananda. So in the Madhya Lila, chapter 20 of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it describes the expansions of the Lord. Describes that Lord Krishna is Swayam Roop, or Swayam Prakash. And from there he has two primary expansions. The first is Prabhav Prakash, where the mood, complexion, and emotions of the Lord in his expansions are the same. And the examples of this are when Krishna expands, for example, in the Rasa Lila dance, or when he expands for the 16,108 queens in Dwarka. The other primary expansion is Vaibhav Prakash. And in this expansion, the first expansion is Lord Balaram. Lord Krishna, you can all see, has a bluish, blackish complexion, like a rain-filled cloud in the monsoon season. And his mood is that of the object of affection, of service. He receives service. Lord Balaram, however, has a different mood and a different complexion. His complexion is like a fresh white spring cloud. And his mood is that of service, to be the servitor to the Lord. So Krishna and Balaram are one, but they become two to interact and have these sweet pastimes, and for Lord Balaram to serve the Lord. So let's see, how does Lord Balaram actually serve the Lord? No one can compete with the service of Lord Balaram. So we explained that the first expansion from Krishna is Balaram. So from Balaram, there are 6 incarnations and 4 primary expansions. One of those expansions is Sankarshan. So Lord Balaram manifests as Maha Sankarshan, where he manifests the innumerable Vaikuntha planets and all the moods and paraphernalia that exist there. He is actually the foundation of the spiritual world, and everything that's needed in the spiritual world is manifested by Lord Balaram. And then, in the material world, he manifests as Mahavishnu, or Karnadakshaya Vishnu, the original Purusha avatar, who lies on the causal ocean and breathes out innumerable universes. And as he does so, he reclines on another expansion of Balaram, which is Ananta Shesha, Sheshanag. Okay? And he's not done there. For all those expansions, out of all those universes that he manifests as Karnadakshaya Vishnu, out of his breathing, he enters each each and every one of those universes as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then he's not done yet. He expands further, and into each of those universes, each atom in those universes, he expands as Kishoradakshaya Vishnu. And he enters the heart of every living entity, into all of us, in our hearts as a super soul, as Paramatma. And he's not done yet. Lord Balaram's not done yet. He also helps Lord Krishna with all of his pastimes. He is also the paraphernalia of the Lord. So, he is the shoes of the Lord. He is the umbrella of the Lord. He's the drinking vessels of the Lord. He's the ornaments of the Lord. He's the flower garlands of the Lord. He's even the bed of the Lord. All of the paraphernalia, everything that Lord Krishna needs, he provides. That is Lord Balaram. So in this way, you can see that Lord Balaram was really serving, right? There's no limit to his service. And he personally manifests in all of these ways simply to serve the Lord. And it is this Lord Balaram who is Lord Nithiyanandha. Just see. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it states, may Sri Nithiyananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Seshanaga, and the Vishnus who lie in the Karna ocean, the Garbha ocean, the ocean of milk, are all his plenary expansions and portions of his plenary portions. And there are many other verses that describe these manifestations. So we also told that Lord Balaram accompanies Lord Krishna in his pastimes. When Krishna comes in the different yugas and millenniums, he comes with his associates and his expansions. He never comes alone. And so Lord Balaram accompanies as well. So for example, in the Dwapara Yuga, Lord Balaram came as himself to accompany Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. In the Treta Yuga, he accompanied Krishna, who came as Lord Ram. He came as the younger brother Lakshmana. And in this age of Kali, Balaram appears as Lord Nithiyananda to accompany Lord Chaitanya in the Sankirtan movement. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, there's a wonderful chapter describing the glories of Nithiyananda Balaram. So you can see even the title indicates who Nithiyananda is. He is Balaram himself. Okay? So then why did Lord Balaram appear as Lord Nithiyananda? What was the purpose? He's done all of this wonderful work for the Lord. Shouldn't he just relax? You know, he's done all this work, that's enough, he's tired. No, he actually, after manifesting all these universes and entering each of those universes, he also is part of the creation of us jivas, as of living entities. So, when he's manifest these living entities who have free will, have the ability to try to enjoy ourselves, try to control, try to turn away from Krishna and do our own thing, he then descends as Lord Nithiyananda, as the original Guru, the original spiritual master, the Guru Tattva, to bring us back to Krishna, bring us back home, back to Godhead. He gives us and shows us the ultimate spiritual strength. He provides the jiva an opportunity to understand the real joy and real happiness of Krishna consciousness, to remember the Lord and think of the Lord. And in this way, he gives the ultimate service to Lord Krishna. Lord Nithiyananda's pastimes, glories, and qualities are so great that the acharyas have spoken so much about his qualities, and we'll describe some of them here. He is described as the most beautiful, that his face is so cooling, more cooling than the autumn moon. The effulgence coming out of his body is so beautiful. He moves like a mad elephant in Krishna prema, in Krishna consciousness. He always has a smiling face, and his eyes move here and there in a fickle way. He is very playful. He exhibits strength. He is humorous and funny. His hand is always holding a glowing staff. He is the reservoir of all transcendental mellows, and no one can compare to him in all three planetary systems. He's extremely blissful. And above all, his lotus feet are as cooling as 1,000,000 moons. So today we're very fortunate to hear these vibrations and hear the glories and pastimes of Lord Nidhiyananda. And based on the time we have today, we will now just speak a few drops of nectar about the life of Lord Nidhiyananda and a few of his pastimes. So Lord Nidhiyananda appeared approximately 13 years before Lord Chaitanya. Because when Balaram appeared in the Treta Yuga, he appeared as the younger brother Lakshman. And he didn't really like that. So he said, next time and in all future times, I want to come as the older brother. And that's what happened when he appeared as Lord Balaram and now as Lord Nidhiyananda. So you can have a bit of a stake on Lord Krishna, just these brotherly pastimes. So Lord Nidhiyananda appeared in a village called ISKCON. This is actually a very holy place. It's located about 165 kilometers north of Mayapur in West Bengal. And this place, of course, is holy because Lord Nidhiyananda appeared there. But also, in the battle of Kurukshetra, when Krishna was promised to not fight and just be the chariot driver, he became very angry at Bhishma Dev. And he got off the chariot and he lifted this huge chariot wheel in anger and started charging towards Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev saw this and he quickly got off his chariot and started to pray and chant the glories of Krishna. Krishna's anger dissipated, and so he threw that chariot wheel far away. And where did it land? In ISKCON. It is also the place where the Pandavas spent some time when they were in exile. And of course, it is the place where a very elevated Brahmin named Hidayat Pandit married an equally elevated Vaishnavi named Padmavati. They were well educated, very devoted, and soon Padmavati was expecting a child. And just before the advent, the birth, the appearance of Lord Nidhiyananda, a sage appeared. This anonymous sage, no one knew who he was. And he came to the home of Hidayat Pandit and Padmavati, and he saw Padmavati, and he started chanting and dancing and crying, and he said, "This is the womb, this is the womb." And he predicted that this child is actually Lord Balaram himself. He also said that Padmavati is the incarnation of Rohini. Rohini was the mother of Balaram. So he foretold this. And he predicted that this, and who was the sage? This sage was actually Garga Muni. If you remember, Garga Muni was the one who in Dwapara Yuga named Balaram and Krishna in the court of Nanda. So he predicted all this, told everybody what was happening, and then he disappeared. Soon, the child appeared. The child was extremely beautiful, so charming, so sweet, that all the citizens of ISKCON had not seen such a child before. When they came to bless the child, they said, "This child cools the eyes and cools the heart. He is so beautiful." And Padmavati, Lord Nidhiyananda's mother, could not tolerate not having Nidhiyananda on her lap even for a moment. And Hidayat Pandit could not even tolerate having Nidhiyananda out of his eyesight, even for a moment. All the residents of ISKCON were so enamored, and they kept coming to the home of Hidayat Pandit just to gaze upon Nidhiyananda. And everyone wanted to hear every word, every sound from Nidhiyananda. They described Nidhiyananda as a bright, fresh cloud, and his skin was butter soft. And soon, there was a name-giving ceremony, and he was given the name Nidhiyananda, but some called him Ram. Notice Nidhiyananda Ram. And when he started to crawl, people would call him Nitha. And people would describe his smile. The smile is so sweet, with tiny teeth that resemble drops of milk. So how beautiful is Lord Nidhiyananda? We don't describe our own children that way, right? So soon enough, Lord Nityananda became a young boy. And Padmavati said, why don't you go play? This is his pastime. He says, I have no one to play with. So Padmavati called all the neighborhood boys and said, play with Nityananda. And of course, they wanted to play with Nityananda. And so they started to play with him day and night. And what would Nityananda play? He was not playing with a ball and toys and things like that. But rather, he became the producer, director, and prime actor of Krishna's pastimes. He would enact dramatically Krishna's pastimes, like lifting the Govardhan hill, his birth, the pastimes of Vamna, the dancing on the Kaliya, the pastimes of Lord Rama, the pastimes of Lord Vishnudev. And in this way they would pass day and night. And Nityananda would be so absorbed in these pastimes that he would cry, he would weep, he would faint. And the villagers would wonder, well, how does Nityananda know these pastimes? He's such a young boy. How does he know these pastimes? So they asked him. And Nityananda simply smiled and said, these are my pastimes. See, they were covered in a curtain of illusion. They didn't really know who Nityananda was, right? So they just thought, oh, he's a sweet boy. So even from a young age, he was teaching people devotional service, Krishna consciousness, the remembrance of Krishna. So when Nityananda was 12 years old, a sannyasi came to Ikachakra and visited the home of Hidai Pandit. And Hidai Pandit welcomed him, served him prasadam. And then throughout the evening and night, this sannyasi discussed the pastimes of Lord Krishna with Hidai Pandit. And when morning came and the sannyasi was about to leave, as is the honorary custom, Hidai Pandit said, is there anything else that I can do for you? And the sannyasi said, yes, actually there is. I would like you to give me your eldest son to go on pilgrimage with me. I'm on pilgrimage, I'm alone, I have no one to accompany me. So when the sannyasi said this, Hidai Pandit's heart shattered. And he went to see Padmavati and he told her what was happening. Her heart broke as well, but she says, we have to honor this. Just like when Vishwamitra Muni came to see King Dashrath and asked for Lord Ram, that had to be honored as well. So they gave Nitai to the sannyasi, and as the sannyasi was leaving, he gave Padmavati a deity called Murlidhar. And he says, whenever you worship Murlidhar, Nityananda will appear to you. And so they left. And upon them leaving, Padmavati and Hidai Pandit just fell down unconscious. They couldn't believe what happened. And all the villagers were despondent and grieving as well. They were saying, why did they take Nitai? We would have given our own son. He's just a little boy. Our son can cook, our son can clean, we'll trade him. And they tried to run here and there to try to find that sannyasi to trade. But this was the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. They couldn't even find the sannyasi, even just a few minutes later. So, in due course, the village became despondent and desolate because the villagers started leaving Ikachakra because they couldn't stand not seeing Nitai there anymore. And Nityananda, in the meantime, accompanied the sannyasi on pilgrimage, and then he went further on himself. And he visited all the holy places in India, north, south, east, west, Gaya, Kashi, all the different holy places. He went to Mathura, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, and there he was crying and fainting. He went to the 12 forests in Vrindavan where the pastimes occurred, and just weeping and weeping in absorption of Krishna's pastimes. And he went to Ayodhya, Lord Ram's place of birth. And he went to the forest there, and he was rolling on the ground, weeping and crying in remembrance of the Lord. And in this way, he went to all the different holy places, chanting the Lord, Hari, Hari, Gauranga, Krishna. And during his travels, he met with many great acharyas like Ishvara Puri, Madhavendra Puri. And when he met Madhavendra Puri, he accepted in his heart Madhavendra Puri as his guru. And Madhavendra Puri recognized that this Nityananda is Balaram, and he embraced him. and they were in ecstatic love, and they were speaking for many days as they traveled about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And in this way, Lord Nityananda spent 20 years on pilgrimage. And he finally ended up back in Vrindavan because he knew that Lord Chaitanya was about to begin his pastimes of the inauguration of the Sankirtan movement. And he came there in the mood of Balaram, and he stayed in a place called Shringarvat. And this was a place where actually Lord Krishna would decorate Srimati Radharani with flowers and ornaments. And he also stayed in Radhakund. In the meantime, Lord Chaitanya was doing his own childhood pastimes and enamoring the villagers of Navadvip. And he became a scholar, a Brahmin scholar teaching Sanskrit and philosophy. And then soon enough, it was time for him to actually perform the pastimes that he came for, which was the Sankirtan movement. And Nityananda realized that now the time has come. So he immediately left Vrindavan and went to Navadvip. And when he arrived in Navadvip, he was 32 years old at this time, and Lord Chaitanya was 20 years old. And he hid in the house of Nandacharya. Lord Chaitanya immediately knew that Lord Nityananda has arrived. And he asked his associates, Hidai Pandit and Ishvara Pandit, Haridas Thakur and Ishvara Pandit to go and bring Nityananda. And they searched all day and they couldn't find him. And so they reported back, and Lord Chaitanya could not stand the separation from Lord Nityananda for a moment longer. So he himself got up and directly went to the home of Nandacharya, because he knew where Lord Nityananda was. And Vrindavan Das Thakur describes this meeting. As soon as the two lords met each other, they embraced in ecstasy. They were hugging, dancing, crying, weeping. There was no end to the ecstasy. And Sachimata, the mother of Lord Chaitanya, accepted Lord Nityananda as her very own son. And she would have dreams where she would see Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And so she went to Lord Chaitanya the next day, and she said, "This is what I saw." And Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, "Yes, but don't tell anybody." Right? So these are some of the pastimes. So henceforth, the lords came together to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement, to deliver the fallen souls, to bring them back to Krishna from the clutches of Maya. And one day, Lord Chaitanya brought Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda to him. And he says, "I want you to go out and preach door to door. I want you to spread the holy name. Have people understand who Krishna is and chant the holy names of Krishna. Make Krishna their life and soul." And so Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur took this to heart and started going and telling everyone, please take up Krishna consciousness. Don't waste your life. And of course, as it is today, some people were gracious and accepting, but many others were doubtful. They were blasphemous. They would call vile names and be very violent towards Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. But Lord Nityananda did not deter. He said, "That's okay. Say what you want to me, but chant the holy names of Krishna. Remember Krishna." So you can see that Lord Nityananda, who was manifesting all the universes, all the expansions, doing all of this, he is showing this forgiving mood, this compassionate mood, this magnanimous mood. Why? Just to bring people back to Krishna. How merciful is that? How compassionate is that? If you remember, Balaram came as Lakshman, right, in the Treta Yuga. And when he came as a very fierce, very fiery personality, right? And anybody who would say anything against Lord Ram, he would react, right? He cut the nose off of Shurpanika, right? As Balaram, he, with just a blade, the tip of a blade of grass, he killed Romaharshana Sutta because he was being arrogant and disrespectful. But here, Lord Nityananda was acting humbler than a blade of grass. The mood just completely flipped. He could have been forceful. Lord Nityananda is all-powerful. He could have said, you must follow this Krishna conscious movement, otherwise I will kill you, I will banish you. But no, he came in a different mood. So I'll give you one pastime that actually epitomizes the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So one day Lord Nityananda, I apologize. So Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur were going door to door, going on the streets, spreading Krishna consciousness, spreading the holy name. And one day they came across these two drunkard brothers. They were called Jagai and Madai. And although they were from a Brahmin family, they were very vile. They were one of the most criminally fallen souls in the Navadvip area. They would steal, they would burn houses, they would abuse women, they would drink, they would rob. It was just unbelievable, and nobody would want to approach them. They wouldn't dare approach them. So these people are very dangerous and they're very powerful. When Nityananda heard this, he thought to himself, well, if I can transform these two brothers, then the mission of Lord Chaitanya will spread far and wide, and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya will be well known and people will accept this. So he approached these two brothers with Haridas Thakur, and he implored them. He said, please give up what you're doing. Please take the holy names of Krishna. Make that your life and soul. Chant the holy names of Krishna. And these two brothers got insulted. They said, how dare you speak to us like this? And they roared at them and started calling names and started chasing Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. So the chase was on and they were running and running. And soon Haridas Thakur, who was 58 years old at this time, he stopped and he said to Lord Nityananda, why did you approach these two? They're the most fallen souls. Why did we have to approach them of all people? And Lord Nityananda simply smiled. Remember, he was humorous, funny? He smiled like a mad elephant in Krishna Prema, and he said, well, Lord Chaitanya told us to approach everyone. That's all I'm doing, right? So, in the meantime, these drunkard brothers also got exhausted and they fell unconscious on the ground. So, Haridas Thakur was pretty happy about that. So, a few days later, Lord Nityananda came upon Jagai and Madai once again. And he was determined, he did not deter. He says, let me try again. Let me try to change these two poor fallen souls. So he approached the two brothers again and he said, please, you're really wasting your lives. Please take up Krishna consciousness. Madai said, you again? He lifted a piece of clay pot, which was from a drinking vessel, and he struck Lord Nityananda's forehead. Blood started pouring from Lord Nityananda's forehead, pouring down his face and onto his garments. Of course, this is not real blood. Lord Nityananda is transcendental. It's not a human form. It was just for the pastime. And Lord Nityananda did not react. He said, that is okay. You can harm me. You can hurt me. But you are an illusion. Please take up the names of Gauranga, Chaitanya. Take up the names of holy names. Madai became even more infuriated, and he picked up another piece of clay pot and was about to strike Nityananda again. But Jagai came to his senses, and he said, this saint is trying to give us benefit. He's not trying to hurt us. What are we doing? And he stopped Madai. He said, what are we doing? Right? He stopped him. But in the meantime, Lord Chaitanya heard about this and he rushed to the scene. His eyes were red with anger. He said, who can dare harm a gentle soul like my Lord Nityananda? And he brought his divine disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, and he was about to kill these two brothers. And Nityananda said, no, 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 I implore you, please. Please don't do this. Our pastimes here are not for violence, but to purify these fallen souls, to liberate them, to be merciful on them. We cannot kill them. Please don't. And actually, I didn't get hurt. Yes, I'm bleeding, but I'm not hurt. It's okay. And you know what? Jagai actually stopped Madai. They're good, they're good. And so, and Jagai was, of course, praying. He saw that he was, afraid and shaking. And so in this way, Lord Chaitanya calmed down and said, okay, I will forgive Jagai. And Madai, seeing this transformation, said, please forgive me as well. But what happened? Lord Chaitanya said, no, I cannot forgive you. You have to get forgiveness from Lord Nithiyananda. You harmed him, so therefore you have to ask him. So Madai held the feet of Lord Nithiyananda and said, please forgive me. And Lord Nithiyananda said, you are forgiven. He lifted him up and embraced him. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nithiyananda purified these two such fallen souls that they transformed in the most wonderful Vaishnavas with the utmost of devotional service. And they themselves started helping in the mission of the Sankirtan movement. So just see the mercy of these two lords, that they were liberating the fallen souls. And Nithiyananda made a very good point. He said that everyone in this age of Kali Yuga has a bit of Jagai and Madai in them. A little bit less, a little bit more, but they're all fallen. So we have to save them. So that is the compassion of Lord Nithiyananda. So that's just a drop of the glories and the pastimes of Lord Nithiyananda. But from those pastimes, we should understand the importance of Krishna consciousness. What is our purpose of life? That Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nithiyananda appeared, the Lords appeared themselves in this Kali Yuga to help us go back to Krishna consciousness. And we should understand that Lord Nithiyananda is the manifestation of the Lord's compassion. Lord Nithiyananda is the original Guru, and all genuine Gurus, like Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, are his representatives. Indeed, it is in the mood of Lord Nithiyananda that Srila Prabhupada, with his compassion and mercy, came to the West to give us Krishna consciousness, to give us this Krishna conscious movement, that he miraculously transformed souls with all these anarthas, all these bad qualities, all these different backgrounds. He transformed them and brought them to the path of Krishna consciousness. That was Srila Prabhupada's miracle, following the footsteps of Lord Nithiyananda. So the question is, how can we please the Lord? How can we please Srila Prabhupada? Indeed, how can we please Lord Nithiyananda? So Lord Nithiyananda has told us himself how we can please. He chanted, Bhaja Goranga, Kaha Goranga, Laha Gorangere Namare, Jejana Goranga Bhaje, Shehoy Amara Pranare. Worship Goranga. Chant the names of Gauranga. Speak only about Gauranga. And those who do so are my very life and soul. This is Nithiyananda's instructions. This is what he is asking of all of us, to chant the holy names of Krishna, of Gauranga. And Narottama Das Thakur sums it up very nicely. He states, unless one takes the shelter of the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nithiyananda, it will be very difficult for one to approach Radha and Krishna. So we humbly ask you that you take up this Krishna consciousness in your heart. You become Krishna conscious. You practice the hearing and chanting of the holy names of the Lord. You perform devotional service. And in that way, your life will become sublime. Lord Nithiyananda ki, Lord Chaitanya ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we can take them up after the announcements during Prasadam time. Thank you for listening. Hare Krishna.
Are there any questions? We do have time for one. There any in the crowd? It was a very good class. If you have questions,
Yes,
it was nice.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the speech. Just want to ask one question. You mentioned about Sri Chaitanya here with the Vishnu Chakra. I was just wondering why did he come with the Vishnu Chakra? Because he came with the bhava of Radharani and Sri Krishna. So why did he do that? I mean, was there a particular reason? Because the whole point was to show the joint Krishna and Radharani. Or was it probably because he wanted to show that you can do it, but you can forgive it because of bhakti? So this was the confusion on that.
Excellent question, thank you. See, Lord Chaitanya, yes, he came in the mood of Radharani Krishna to understand love of Godhead. But when he saw his devotee, Lord Nidhiyanandha, was being blasphemed, was being hurt, then he changed. Just like in the Battle of Kurukshetra, he had a vow that he would not participate, but he became angry, right? Similarly, here, he became angry and took his mind, his root, his Swayam root, as Lord Krishna, and then he brought his Sudarshan Chakra. Because he is, Lord Chaitanya, at the end of the day, is Krishna himself. Does that answer the question?
Thank you so much for your class. And again, if there are any other questions, please do find.
And just one thing, Julia, if you are interested in learning more about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nithiyananda, what we were referring to was a Chaitanya Charitamrita right here, and you can get this 9-volume Chaitanya Charitamrita and just read those sweet pastimes. And they're available here or outside. The devotees will help you get this set. Thank you.
All right, very well. Give another hand, please. So I'm in a very uncomfortable position because I stand between you and Prashad. There's just a couple minutes and then we'll be able to honor it. So first step, we're going to just honor our cooks for today. So it's Yogeshwar Prabhu and team. So if you can please give a big hand for that team. Thank you. We also have a number of sponsors for tonight's feast. So we have 4. Ketan Gaur on the occasion of his daughter Prachi's birthday. Shivam Kadva on the occasion of his birthday. Mr. and Mrs. Shukla for the well-being of their 1-month son, who's unfortunately hospitalized at the moment, unfortunately. And our 4th sponsor is Rose Manjula Subramania, who's also seeking blessings. So please, if you could chant Hare Krishna 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare